Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zhang here, and today I'm back with another episode of Road to Ranked, where I climb the online series 8 ladder and provide live commentary as I go. In the last episode, we featured a really fun Rayquaza team, and as you may notice, the webcam is back. I actually upgraded my setup significantly, but it's temporary because I got sent a bunch of stuff to cast for Players Cup 3, which is going on right now, and so the current upgrades will probably only be around for a couple of weeks, but figured, since I have the equipment, might as well upgrade and use it for my videos, and it was perfect timing since I was having some trouble with some of my old tech, but I am planning on buying some new stuff and new equipment as well. Part of what's been difficult was just that I moved from New York to LA about a month ago. I didn't bring everything over, so that's why the quality might have been a little bit lower, but looking to try to upgrade my setup in the upcoming days. But we do have the setup for the Players Cup 3 commentary right now, which is really exciting, so hopefully, the mic and the webcam are a little bit better, and I have a green screen that I'll be using as well. I don't know if I really like a green screen, but if you have any funky or fun background suggestions, feel free to drop them down in the comment section below. I'll definitely take them into consideration, and hope everyone's been doing well. Thank you for bearing with me, for watching these videos as always, even when I have some technical difficulties here and there. I really do appreciate it, and I hope everyone's been having fun with the videos. We have checked off nearly every restricted Pokemon in Series 8 at this point, which is pretty exciting. So we'll be playing a couple more games with Rayquaza today, and I think there's about 4 serious restricteds that we have left in Lunala, the Kyurem forms, and the Giratina. So that's why the question of the day today, I want to know if you have any Giratina or Lunala set suggestions down in the comment section below. I think Giratina, I've seen a couple of interesting weakness policy setups, and I mean, weakness policy really is probably the best way to make any Pokemon work in Sword and Shield in general if you have no idea where to start. But I'm curious if anyone has seen successful teams or built successful teams around them. Definitely would welcome your input down in the comment section below. So thanks as always for watching Road to Rank. If you enjoyed, please share support by leaving a like. I'd really appreciate it. And once again, there is a rental and a paste for this team courtesy of the original creator, so thank you to them. Their Twitter is linked down in the description below as well as a rental and a paste. So let's get started. Wow, that's a sick team. I feel like I went up against this team a while ago, but I don't remember if it was for Road to Rank or if it was just one of the practice games I had. But Reshiram, Pheromosa speed swap stuff here is definitely a possibility, but to be honest, Pheromosa is just one of those obscure Pokemon that I could do a lot here. They have Gastrodon and Indeedee, so I really can't go with Colossal too easily. Otherwise, Colossal would be so good, right? Into Reshiram. I lean towards Regieleki because we are Sash, so we can just go for an Electro Web. We also don't have a Dragon-type attack on Rayquaza, but we have a Ground-type attack in Max Quake, so it's not the end of the world. I mean, Reshiram's really scary, right? But at least with I could go Blastoise Regieleki and fake out Electro Web to set up for Rayquaza. Obstagoon or Colossal? I mean, Obstagoon's kind of cool here. It has knockoff into Metagross, double edge into Gastrodon. It's just Cole's looks like a really good max option if I can get it set up, but how in the world am I going to get it set up when there's a Gastrodon and an Indeedee? It's very difficult to actually pull that off successfully. I guess I could switch into a Max Flare from Reshiram, but you know what? We don't get to use Obstagoon much, so let's just try it out. I think it's actually very interesting in this matchup, so yeah. Obstagoon, definitely the most interesting Pokemon on this team, but to be honest, this whole team has a lot of cool stuff. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to feature it. I think for Road to Ranked, it's really fun to use teams that are both competitive and feature some niche sets or things that you just don't generally see very much in competitive play. So, let's see. Gastrodon and Pheromosa, okay. Well, if there was ever a counter to what I have right now in the field, it's definitely that Gastrodon. Maybe I should have thought a little bit more about what my Gastrodon answers were going to be in this set. Because there aren't really any. It's probably Max Rayquaza. If I'm my opponent here, what am I going for? Protect Pheromosa. Max Gastrodon, Max Quake. That's kind of interesting. I can always fake out Electro Web here. But Pheromosa does carry Protect fairly common. I don't really have a better play though, do I? I'm just gonna fake out Thunderbolt here. In the off chance they don't have Protect, we just get a KO. Okay, that works too, I guess. Into Indeedee. I think this is definitely a Max Rayquaza game. We get it in when we max Airstream. It's very dependent on what Gastrodon set this is from my opponent's end. Do they max? They do. I don't really care that much about max Gastrodon. The main question is whether or not you have max Hailstorm, basically. And whether or not that one-shots Dynamax Rayquaza. Okay, so this turn didn't go out that poorly. I thought if Pheromosa protected... Like, the upside is that we have the Focus Sash on Aleki, right? So I can stall out Gastrodon's max and ensure that it only picks up 1 KO. So Fake Out's wasted, but in the end, I don't honestly regret that. It's fine. Our goal is to just stall out my opponent's Dynamax on that Gastrodon. They're going to Quake here, presumably. Yep. I'm just curious on the item here. Haven't seen Gastrodon in a while. Oh, and they target Blastoise. Okay, probably predicting a Protect from the Aleki. That did a lot of damage considering we're Assault Vest, so I honestly wonder if it's Life Orbed. But it is a max move. It is Life Orb. Wow. Okay, I mean, I can always Ice Beam, Thunderbolt into this thing. Indeedee could just Protect, though. I really want to switch Blastoise out right now, but it's probably better not to. We could honestly Dynamax... Okay, that's not a good idea. I was going to say Dynamax Obstagoon, but I feel like that's kind of troll. Ice Beam and just... Man, I don't know if Electro Web Ice Beam picks up the KO with the special defense boost. I just went for Thunderbolt, but this feels kind of bad. Okay, they don't Protect. No Follow Me, but there's no reason to follow me there. Oh, okay, we're faster with Blastoise anyway. Nice. Okay. I don't know. I mean, the thing is, I could switch Blastoise into Rayquaza there, but let's say I do and they actually make the read in Hailstorm and pick up the KO. We just insta-lose the game there, so it's really not worth it. They just commit a Geyser probably into Aleki, but that's fine. Yeah, that works for me. What the most important thing here is if Gastrodon comes out and we stall it to Dynamax, and then we can Dynamax Rayquaza. Like, that's all we're looking for here right now. Yeah, Rain Dish is actually pretty relevant right now. I saw a question in the comment section yesterday, you know, like, why run Rain Dish over Torrent? And the main reason is because your only water type attack really is going to be Aqua Jet when you're low on health anyway. So it's a slight increase in Aqua Jet versus, you know, some marginal increases here. Okay, I'm just going to Ice Beam into an Electro Web here, I think. No point in protecting the Aleki. It's going to faint to a max move anyway. We might actually survive the Max Quake now thanks to the Rain Dish, which would be very funny. Like, that would be the perfect use of Rain Dish here. But it's looking pretty good, because I think we just play towards the Dynamax Rayquaza in the end game here. But my opponent's team is really interesting. I haven't seen Life Orb Gastrodon forever, but it makes sense, because if you look at their team... Oh, don't tell me we missed. Okay, no, we hit. Good. That was very scary for a second. Without Storm Drain Aqua Jet there, probably could have just picked up the KO onto Pheromosa. Yeah, they are Speed Swap, which I was kind of nervous about, but I think it's fine because even though they're faster, they're going to go for Hailstorm onto Blastoise. This is exactly what I was talking about, right? Why go for a switch if you don't need to? Because if I switch into Rayquaza there, I actually just instantly throw away the game. I don't think Life Orb Ice Beam one-shots Rayquaza, right? Also, I don't know the way the speed mechanic works, but does the -1 speed apply to the Gastrodon? Because I Electro Web before they speed swaps, right? I've actually just never seen that interaction before, so I don't know the answer to that. Huh, that's really interesting. Okay, well, we have Rayquaza in the back. Is there an angle to Dynamax Obstagoon here? No, I think it's probably just a Dynamax Rayquaza. Because the only thing is, I don't know who's faster right now between Gastrodon and Ray. Because I don't know that speed swap. Oh gosh, wait. Their Reshiram's faster than us. That very likely could be a problem, can't it? Yep, that's a problem. Oh man, I'm gonna go into Obstagoon, I think, and Protect. This isn't. I thought this was looking good, but the fact Reshiram outspeeds us is the problem here, right? I wonder if a Dragon type attack just one-shots Rayquaza. The main thing is I just don't know if we outspeed the Gastrodon right now. We can't even confirm because of Airlock, so the Hail's irrelevant. But I honestly might Dynamax Obstagoon here if my opponent doubled up into Rayquaza, because then I can Max Strike, switch Rayquaza out into Blastoise. But maybe they just Earth Powered the Obstagoon, I don't know. Fusion Flare. Okay, into Rayquaza, sure. Okay, yeah. Wait, so is that Scarf Reshiram? Also, they went for Blizzard, which is pretty risky because you could miss. Am I crazy in wanting to Dynamax Obstagoon here? I really want to do it. I think I'm gonna go for it. Because a single Max Strike means Rayquaza outspeeds both of these. So I'm gonna Max Strike the Gastro, switch out into Blastoise here. I don't know if this is the right play. But I also really don't know how much damage I take from Reshiram here. Are they Scarfed? I actually don't remember Reshiram's Space Speed, which is part of the problem. Because if so, Scarf would make sense. You could just then Fusion Flare into Obstagoon instead. And they outspeed the Gastrodon, so I think it's Scarf. But like, I feel like Rayquaza is the clear threat in this moment, right? It's gotta be Scarf. Why else would you Fusion Flare, right? They did Fusion Flare into Obstagoon. Okay, we actually take that pretty well, though. And Blizzard. We should survive, right? Okay, I think we're good, as long as we don't get frozen. I can't believe we Dynamax Obstagoon. No way. That's enough for a KO. Yeah, that wins us the game. I was just nervous about Obstagoon fainting from the Fusion Flare Blizzard double up. And I also wasn't sure whether or not my Rayquaza was outspeeding the Gastrodon there. I think it's gotta be choice, but now we can just fake out Max Strike. Oh, it's definitely Scarfed, right? Yeah, given that they're still faster with Reshiram after the Strike, it's 100% Scarf. So we have a guaranteed win with fake out Max Strike here. I didn't even think Obstagoon was going to be super crucial in this matchup, but this was just a weird scenario where the Reshiram was faster and they got Speed Swap on a Gastrodon. So once again, this is why you want to play Flex. Let me just make sure Psychic Train's gone. Yeah, it disappeared last turn. Just want to double check that because that's one easy way to throw this game. If Psychic Terrain were still around, the best play then would be to just go for Ice Beam Max Strike. Since it's a 3-on-1, we just need to trade damage, basically. But we got a game with Dynamax Obstagoon, and that means we've Dynamaxed, almost every Pokemon on this team. Blastoise, Ray, Obstagoon. I was talking about Bronzong potentially in yesterday's episode. That would have been pretty cool. So, yeah. I don't know. It was just a really weird scenario, but it just made the most sense given kind of how things played out. So Rayquaza was kind of used there as bait. And speaking of Pokemon, we have another Pheromosa. What are the odds we go up against Pheromosa in back-to-back games? Huh? I mean, I kind of want to just go Blastoise Cole here. Doesn't seem too bad. Like, maxing Rayquaza here seems really bad, right? And as a reminder, you can target yourself with priority attacks even if Psychic Terrain is up. So like even though they have Lele, it doesn't stop me from Aqua Jetting. I don't know, Colossal just looks really good here. Rayquaza in the back. Zong? I feel like it's probably Regieleki just for Electro Web in case they go with the faster component of their team. The Sash is so critical on this Regieleki. I actually can't stress that enough because what it allows you to do is it turns Regieleki into a better defensive option against Dynamax Pokemon. Now you might be saying, like, defensive option, that sounds crazy, right? It's so frail, but 1 HP is basically infinite HP with the Regieleki, right? As long as you have 1 HP, like in that last game, for example, my opponent committed a Geyser, right, into us, and then we survived with 1 HP. That means that you have to spend 2 turns to knock out a Regieleki when most of the time players are expecting to one-shot it with the max move. That's actually really critical because one thing that's important, as you've seen how we've played with this team thus far, is stalling out our opponent's Dynamax, right? And so it's really critical to be able to prime for a late game Blastoise or Rayquaza or Colossal Sweep. You can stall out your opponent's Dynamax, and this is where Sash is so handy because normally Regieleki is viewed as such a frail Pokemon that you're guaranteed a one-shot onto it with the max move. It's really critical. So it's Pheromosa plus Kyurem. I mean, can't I just Aqua Jet Vocalith here? Unless you're faster. I think it's still the right play to go for, to be honest. Because, like, Vocalith is just so strong here, and even if, like, Kyurem survives, and you get the KO into Colossal, we have Rayquaza and Aleki in the back. And Volcalit chip is so good into my opponent's team. So yeah, I think it's just Aqua Jet, Max, and Volcalit. Let's go for that. I don't know. I'm just nervous about like Pheromosa. Is Pheromosa just outspeed Cole at max speed, even if we're at +6? I don't think so. I mean, if so, that's a big problem because you can just speed swap Max Quake Colossal. We'd probably just lose the game if that happened, actually. So Aleki could have been a pretty interesting max option. Yeah, they're gonna Dynamax Kyurem Black. It's always like funny when we do Road to Ranked and then like we just run into back-to-back like super niche Pokemon. But I think Pheromosa is really cool in this format. So yeah, really cool teams. I just don't. I mean, I know Pheromosa is what, over base 150. I'm just nervous that if it's max speed swap, you outspeed us. That would be a pretty big problem. The best way against speed swap, like against this lead, I honestly really would have liked Aleki. Aleki would have been pretty neat. Lucky Blastoise could be interesting just for fake out Electro Web, kind of like that last game. Okay, we'll get the Aqua Jet off. They're not protecting here. Yeah, I think it's worth like trading Colossal if I just get Volcalit off into Kyurem here. So that's basically what we want, because Volcalit is so good into my opponent's team. Okay, good. Yeah, we outspeed. The thing here is that it's probably Focus Sash Pheromosa. I could see a Speed Swap coming out. It's not enough to KO Kyurem, but that's okay. Like, that's all the damage I needed onto it, I think. So I'm pretty content with that. Oh, they just closed combat. That is actually really interesting. Close combat Max Quake then, maybe? Rockfall. Okay, that makes sense. This should KO, right? I would think so. Yeah. But that's the thing about Colossal. Just getting a single... getting a single Volcalit off is really good. I don't know, though. That one's interesting, because I could have gone, like, Fake Out Pheromosa, Volcalit into Pheromosa there, but... I was expecting Kyurem to have Max Quake there. I don't know if that's, like, a bad assumption or not. I feel like it's not an unreasonable assumption, though. Okay. We could go out into Aleki, Rayquaza. What do they have in the back? Lele, Porygon, Torkoal? Like, the main thing is we really don't want Kyurem to get another attack off, right? Like, that's the main worry here. Does Life Orb Extreme Speed KO it, though? That's my fear. I'm not sure it does. I'm nervous about Ice Beam from Pheromosa. I don't even know if like Aqua Jet T-Bolt KOs here into Kyurem, though. Pheromosa could so easily protect in this position as well. This totally could be a Assault Vest Kyurem. In fact, Assault Vest makes the most sense. It's not Life Orb, it's not Weakness Policy. Ugh, I don't know if I really liked my play there then. I mean, I just want to Thunderbolt into Pheromosa, I think. The Spout makes sense. Covers for Switch. It's probably better to just Ice Beam here. I think Pheromosa protects here, though. That's the problem. So, I don't know. I think it's maybe better to just bring out Rayquaza there. Okay, they don't protect Pheromosa, though. That's the thing about Pheromosa. I'm not sure how often people are running Protect on it. I personally would, just because of the fact it's so frail and so vulnerable to, like, Fake Out, for example. Oh, interesting. They go for Max Lightning. Okay. Well, they just set up the electric terrain for us, which means we do even more damage with the I think that's definitely got to be Assault Vest if you're running Rockfall Lightning. Surely you have Hailstorm and Dragon, right? Which means you don't have Protect. Without Life Orb Policy, AV just naturally is like the next best item, I would think. I mean, you could be something like, I don't know, Expert Belt maybe, but... Now my question is, does Electro Web KO? I'm also nervous about Scarf Lele in the back. I think that could definitely be a possibility. Lele comes out. I mean, isn't the right play to just double protect? No, it's not to double protect, because then Kyurem's just going to dunk on Rayquaza. And they're faster with Lele, because their terrain goes off first. Oh, man. I am leaning towards Electro Web Earthquake, but I don't know if Earthquake KOs. That's the problem. Also, does Scarf Lele outspeed Regieleki? It might. Maybe it wasn't worth trading Colossal then on turn 1. I thought it would be, but I just don't think we knock out Kyurem. We know Lele's faster than Rayquaza, which is the other part of the problem, so I feel forced to Electro Web. Okay, this seems... No, that's not gonna work. I don't know what the right play was there. I think we might have... Oh, we missed. No. Well, I got the play I wanted to go for, but I don't think we would have won either way, even if we hit the Lele there, to be honest. I was like, you know, gonna double protect. Yeah, I mean that miss is gonna definitely just be game over then. Because they're faster. Yeah, I don't know. Good double up to just KO Cole turn 1. In the end, they didn't have Max Quake on the Kyurem, so that was most frustrating because Kyurem couldn't actually one-shot us. I could have just gone fake out Vocalith into Pheromosa turn 1, but the reason I don't like that too much is because... I mean, Kyurem gets Max Quake, right? I'm actually not 100% sure on that. Either way, even if we hit that Electro Web, I don't think we win the game. Because, like, we didn't knock out Kyurem there. But I didn't actually see a path to victory with Lele being the last one and with that outspeeding Rayquaza here in the back. Maybe it was to bring Obstagoon, actually. That would have been it. No, but Obstagoon's not very good against into Tapu Lele. So, yeah, nicely done by my opponent. I felt like the turn 1 trade-off was worth it for us, but in the end, I think the right play would have been to just bring out Rayquaza over the Pheromosa. I do want to quickly check Kyurem's stats and moveset, because I'm not very familiar with Kyurem Black at all. And if it... One, I want to make sure Rayquaza's faster than that. Because, yeah, I just have so little experience playing into it that I wasn't sure what to really expect there. It is base 95. Yeah, probably physical. I mean, the other scary thing is if they're max speed and we speed tie there, I really didn't want to play towards that possibility. It does get Earth Power, but I guess you're primarily physical over speed. You could be mixed, though, right? So I didn't feel like it was unreasonable to assume it had Max Quake in that position. But I don't know. If I did just like fake out and if we go into Rayquaza, I don't know if Life Orb E-Speed KOs. That's the other part of the problem. I don't think it does. And I can't protect with Rayquaza in front of Kyurem, so yeah. The miss there really didn't make a difference at all. I think my opponent definitely had that game locked up anyway. I just didn't have enough damage output against Kyurem after getting that chunk off. Like, you know, normally getting that a chunk off with Colossal is really good if you can just finish off that Pokemon the subsequent turn, but I didn't actually have a really good answer to finish it off there. That was the problem, right? So, yeah. Zamazenta Sun stuff here. Okay. Indeedee plus Pulse, which really makes me nervous because I think that's very likely going to be Follow Me into Dragon Dance. That's a really big problem. How do I get around that? I mean, Rayquaza is just not good into Dragapult, especially with Whimsicott Tailwind support. And we don't have a Dragon-type attack. Is it Obstagoon? They have a Zamazenta, though. I'm not even, like, I haven't even talked about Zamazenta yet. It's just Indeedee plus Pult alone. That's so scary. What if I just went Blastoise Colossal anyway? Because if you go Indeedee Pult, you're forced to follow me. I can just, I don't know, Vocalith Ice Beam. The matchup is just so weird here that it might just be our best bet. Rayquaza plus Regieleki in the back. Alright. I don't know. I think Indeedee Pult is the clear lead for my opponent here. I don't have any answer against it. Especially if they're Dragon Dance. If they're Dragon Dance, though, I could Vocalith Water Spell. Nah, but then Dragapult still sweeps me. Well, not necessarily, actually. Yeah, not necessarily at all. It is going to be Pult plus Indeedee. Okay, so that's what we're expecting. I mean, follow me Phantasm here into Blastoise makes a lot of sense, right? Follow me Dragon Dance also makes a lot of sense. You have to follow me here. It would be so greedy not to, but I could see my opponent greeting and just not going for it. There's Psychic Seed as well. That's really tough. I don't know. I just had no matchup against this in terms of leads. Blastoise isn't actually that important here, right? The importance of Blastoise is if we can knock out Indeedee and then get the policy set up. But to be honest, I might just go for Ice Beam, Pult, Max, Volcalith into Pult as well. If you follow me, so be it. I get a bunch of damage off into Indeedee. They're not going for Max on Dragapult, so I'm really confident that's Dragon Dance here. It has to be Follow Me Dragon Dance, right? Follow Me Dragon Dance, and you just bring in Whimsicott, Tailwind, and then boom. So, you know, actually, you don't even need to bring Tailwind. What am I saying? You just bring out the Zamazenta. Yeah, there's the Follow Me. I could have Water Spouted then. That plus Volcalith might have actually been a KO. I was really tempted to do that. Yeah, they did Dragon Dance. I mean, if we actually knocked out Indeedee through Ice Beam plus Volcalith, like, if they weren't Psychic Seed, I think we would. But the problem is that they're Psychic Seed here. I should have Water Spouted instead then. Nah. How cool would it be if we had, like, Surf here? That'd actually be a really interesting option. Nah, I don't even think Water Spout's finishing it off there, to be honest. I mean, the slight upside here is that Dragapult's going to take a 6 of their health right away, right? You could just, like, Helping Hand Phantasm right now. Into Cole. Although I don't know if that's a KO. No, you should always follow me, because you really don't want Colossal to get activated here. But I can't lower their speed, and that's a really big problem. Kind of want to YOLO the Aqua Jet in case they mess up here, honestly. Because, like, let's say you follow me, whatever, I'm going to KO the Indeedee anyway. It's not like Blastoise at... I mean, Blastoise at best is getting an Ice Beam off here, but... Could I have let Bronzong? Bronzong Stoice? Then they just max Dragapult, right? And KO Bronzong, presumably. I would think so, yeah. Yeah, they did go for Follow Me. Which is the correct way to play. My opponent has a better matchup here, so they should just play... Yeah. Once again, you can self-Aqua Jet if terrain is up on your side of the field, which is why I went for that. Because, yeah, Blastoise was going down here anyway, so it's like, might as well in case they mess up, right, and make a mistake. Can bring in a Lecky. Yeah, the Life Orb. Oh, man. Cole might just faint. -1 defense, and they have +1 attack and Life Orb. That might be ugly. I think we bring out the Alecki. This was such a tough duo, though. Like, I really don't know what the best approach was. Because I feel like I led my best possible option. I still couldn't do much. But that's one of the reasons why Indeedee plus Pult is still a strong option, right? Wait, why did I think it was Zamazenta in Team Preview? It was Zacian. Am I trolling? Huh. I guess I am trolling a little bit. Electro Web. Unfortunately, Rayquaza is just so bad into Dragapult plus Zacian that there's like no way we could do anything with that. If you're my opponent, you just Airstream here, I think, into Alecki. I guess I'll Flare, but there's not really much we can do here. The damage output against Dragapult is just kind of lacking without a dragon, like, super effective dragon type. And we don't have great physical defense after Dragapult gets the D-Dance off, so... This is an example of a matchup where, like, my opponent just needs to make the correct plays, and they will just win all the time, I think. We'd have to find some really, really obscure way to get out of things. That was a good Protect, by the way. That Protect indicates to me they probably don't have... Airstream, because otherwise I was thinking Airstream there makes a lot of sense. But it's also just a safe play, because like even if I protect Alecki there, you get guaranteed damage into me. And I'm just not putting on damage output against Dragapult with Colossal right now, right? So yeah. Just a safe play from my opponent's end overall, because you stall out my Dynamax as well. So like, what? Might as well, right? What do you really have to lose here? I'm just trying to think, like, how do I beat Indeedee Pult? I mean, Water Spell turn 1 doesn't even actually do that much. I can get all the chip I want on Dragapult, but if I'm not KOing, it doesn't make a difference. So maybe it's applying offensive pressure with Rayquaza right from turn 1. And then play Mind Games with Max Wormwind. And, like, have Bronzong in the back, for example. Because my Leah definitely wasn't going to cut it. It's probably to set up Trick Room in this game, but they probably have Torkoal as their last one, which means like set up Trick Room and then Max Colossal under Trick Room. I don't know. I'm really not sure. Let's see. There's really not much we can do at this point. Like, Rayquaza's not beating either of these. It's just going to get one shot. Colossal is just going to feint at -2, so I think I'll just forfeit here and play another one. So, yeah, I mean, sometimes you just have a really good matchup, and all you have to do is basically play correctly in the first couple of turns, and you'll win. And my opponent did exactly that. Great Dragon Dance. They played perfectly this game. Like, all 3 turns, I don't think they had a better option to go for, basically. And so, even if you have a good matchup in Pokemon, you still have to execute it correctly, and that's exactly what they did in this one. So, I mean, this is one reason why Rayquaza can be a little bit lackluster. In the right matchups, it can absolutely smash, but against, you know, I mean, Dragapult and Zacian are 2 of the more common Pokemon in the format, and as you saw there, we basically couldn't even do anything with Rayquaza. So, I don't know, maybe we could have let it, just force the Max Airstream out immediately turn 1, get some speed control, but the reality there is that we did not have a safe lead matchup to give us any options, unfortunately. Xerneas for the last one. Okay. Xerneas. Maxileki is actually kind of interesting here. They have double Intimidate, so like Obstagoon, low-key could be cool. It's actually very cool here. Like, it's a max option, honestly. Actually thinking about that. The deal is that Colossal would be really good if we could actually get it set up, but I think I don't know, Instant Xerneas, like, this is where Obstagoon could be so interesting. Could it, though? You just outspeed with Xerneas anyway, right? They have Metagross, too. I honestly kind of expect a Landorus lead. I think I'm going to try Blastoise, Obstagoon, Rayquaza. Actually, how can I not bring Bronzong against Xerneas, though? So maybe I don't bring Aleki. I'll bring Bronzong and Rayquaza. This is definitely very far removed from what we've gone with thus far in this episode. Game, I don't know. That last one was one where it's just I don't have a good game plan on the top of my head, and that's okay. You're not going to have a good game plan against every team in the format. Like, that's a good example of a match where I'd go back to the drawing board and be like, I don't feel like I had any options on the team, so what can I do to improve my matchup against that Indeedee plus Dragapult combination? Sometimes the answer is you just accept it, right? Say, hey, that's kind of an obscure duel. Not that many people are running it. If it is Dragon Clans plus Indeedee, like, so be it. I'll accept that I'll have a more negative matchup against something like that. Okay, so Obstagoon actually gets a Defiant boost here, which is sick. I only have Blastoise out, and Blastoise is honestly not a bad max option in this game. I don't know how often Landorus is carrying, like, Superpower these days. Because truth be told, I kind of want to just knock off into Metagross and max Blastoise. It's just Cannonade versus Hailstorm in this position. They don't have a water resist, that's the thing. So I lean towards Cannonade. Honestly, really down for Cannonade plus Obstruct, I think. Yeah, I'm kind of down for that. Okay, they're gonna max, that's fine. Although, maybe I should have just Hailstorm then. Maxing Metagross. Yeah, that's fine. Never mind, Cannonade is better there then. I guess they just bring out Xerneas though, but then Xerneas can't max. And then we have E-Speed into it. I don't know, we could have maxed Obstagoon there, but +1 max Darkness isn't KOing Dynamax Metagross, right? And they're probably weakness policy. Oh gosh, I could see them going for Self-Earthquake right now, just to activate that policy. That would be bad news. Although maybe it's fine, we bring Rayquaza, Dragnescent, knockoff, but then they don't have an item, so no, that's still kind of problematic. Okay. Either way, we'll get Obstruct off here. Oh, they actually had Superpower. Wow, okay. Very glad there then that we obstructed. I was gonna say, like, how often are Landorus carrying fighting type attacks these days? They're just gonna Steel Spike. Okay, that's fine. That is more than okay with me. Because this should be a KO into Landorus, and we'll start getting Cannonade chip off against everything in the subsequent turns. Okay. And that's enough for a KO. Okay, that was honestly a really good turn one for us then, all things considered. Could have been a lot worse. So we'll get the KO. Metagross takes a little bit of chip. And what's going to come out? All the chip is good on Metagross, to be honest. It's Xerneas, yeah. You probably outspeed Obstagoon here if you're max. I mean, you should be max speed, but I think we need a cover for the Geomancy option, so we respect that. The good thing is that we have Bronzong in the back. Like, Bronzong's actually very good against what my opponent has out on their field right now. So I don't mind just going for Cannonade into Xern. And Double Edge into it as well. I don't really care about Metagross because Bronzong will always win the 1v1 against that. Oh, we outspeed Xerneas. Okay, that's actually such a big deal because it covers for both the Geomancy and they Geomancy. Okay, sick. Because the thing is now, we already got a +1 Double Edge off against that, and so Extreme Speed from Rayquaza is just going to finish that thing off after Cannonade chip damage. Nice. This game couldn't have gone any better, honestly, in these first two turns. So that's good. What do I have to watch out for? What my opponent's last one is going to be. Moltres makes the most sense, because otherwise my opponent had no answer against Bronzong. So I kind of expect that. Yeah, Steel Spike into Obstagoon. Obstagoon did its job this game, though. It applied pressure for my opponent probably, felt forced to target it on turn 1. That, we were able to just ignore. And then we just got the KO onto the Landorus, which was great. So we'll get Cannonade off. They're set up right now with Xerneas, but like I said, this plus the 1/6 means it should be an Extreme Speed KO range. And I think it feints from another Cannonade here. I guess the only problem is, do I actually feel comfortable just bringing out Rayquaza? Because, like, this is my answer against whatever my opponent's last Pokemon is. But I don't know if you one-shot Rayquaza unless you... Well, Rockfall plus Hailstorm are both possibilities on Metagross, I suppose. I guess I could always just protect Rayquaza, right? What's stopping me from doing that? Actually doesn't seem half bad. I don't know why I wasn't considering that option. An interesting option is actually just protect Rayquaza, switch Blastoise out into Bronzong, which lets me conserve a Fake Out. I actually kind of like that. That might seem a little bit odd, but I actually think it makes a lot of sense here. Okay, yeah, I'm down for that. Normally you don't want to switch out your Maxmon like this, but I think in the context of this turn it makes sense, because Xerneas is going to feign from Cannonade damage anyway. A Cannonade into Metagross isn't actually going to do that much damage, and I don't want to give up Rayquaza in this position. Even if you double up onto Bronzong, that's fine. Because it conserves Blastoise, I can bring that back out and Fake Out. Okay, they did Moonblast into the Blastoise slot. But yeah, Zon takes that brilliantly, actually, so that's really nice. Nice. Okay, well, they did double up into Bronzong, reading Rayquaza's Protect, but that's still fine with me, because Xerneas feints now. Perfect. Yeah, it was a really big deal. Obstagoon was able to outspeed. Obstagoon was the MVP today. Honestly, it was like, maybe I should have just brought it in the other matches as well. The one against Lele, though, I don't know. It is weak to Fairy typing there. That one, I just, like, I didn't realize, like, Kyurem would be Assault Vest until it was maybe too late. I didn't even think about that possibility, so... Oh, it's Regieleki as the last one. How scared of that are we? Not too scared, right? Because you definitely can't KO both of our Pokemon right now, and E-Speed plus Cannonade might just KO. So, like, I want to just Body Press into Eleki and E-Speed into it. Maybe Regieleki protects and you have Ice Punch. Oh, that could be scary. So maybe Trick Room's better, but okay. It's not going to Faint quite yet. They're going to T-Bolt, probably into Bronzong. Okay, Bronzong survives, so I think that wins us the game. They do have Ice Punch, though. But I think it's fine, because I don't think my opponent can beat Bronzong now, right? Because Body Pressure KO Regieleki, and then we just Fake Out into Metagross Trick Room. Yeah, and now we have Water Spout under Trick Room, which is exactly why I wanted to conserve that Blastoise for Fake Out. So, I mean, this was kind of scary in the end, though, because I feel like I made nearly every play correctly, but it still doesn't feel like a very convincing win. But, you know, I think it was fine. It's just scary there, because if Regieleki protects, and since they did have Ice Punch, part of me was thinking maybe they didn't have Ice Punch because they didn't Hailstorm last turn, but they just read into my Protect really nicely, so... but this is why I really wanted Bronzong into this matchup, because my opponent cannot beat this Bronzong in the late game, especially with lefties, because I can just Iron Defense Water Spout after setting up Trick Room. So, looks like they realized that, and so we end up getting the win. So in the end, yeah, 2-2. I mean, we definitely had a nice string of wins yesterday, but we also ran into some pretty good matchups. The reality is when you use a more obscure restricted like Rayquaza, it is just generally tougher. You're not gonna, like, you have some tougher matchups, right? Relative to Pokemon like Zacian, Kyogre, Groudon, which generally has more positive matchups across the board. The Kyurem game I think definitely was winnable, but I needed to map it out a little bit better. Because I thought the Colossal for Kyurem trade would have been worth it, or Colossal for 70% of damage on the Kyurem would have been worth it, but it actually wasn't because I couldn't just knock out Kyurem immediately after. So that was my mistake. I needed a little bit more damage onto Kyurem, and I needed something better to have in the back. And then the game against the Indeedee Dragapult lead, I don't know, that was one in which like I feel like I just didn't have any consistent options. And I want to make sure to like identify and point out that I'm not saying like that's an excuse. That's just sometimes what you realize in team building, right? You're like, hey, there's just this lead combo or this group of Pokemon that match up really, really well into me. And I felt like I had no consistent option to play with. And so that's something where if you ever identify that while you're playing, that's a good time to go back into the team building process and ask yourself, one, you know, am I comfortable having a negative matchup against this combination? Is this something I'm going to see repeatedly? Because if the answer is yes, you are going to see it repeatedly, then you really will want to try to optimize your matchup a little bit more, because if you're going up against common setups and you just don't have a good like turn one lead, you're often going to be playing from behind, and no matter how good of a player you are, it is very hard to play this game from behind. So it did end up being Dragon Dance in the end. They were also Psychic Seed and they were Zacian, so like the combination of that was just all really, really tough to deal with. My best bet would be to like lead Rayquaza, bait them into Wormwinding, into Rayquaza, switch Rayquaza out into Bronzong, and effectively try to stall out my opponent's Dynamax, and then max Rayquaza, Airstream, and then play towards a sweep there. The other alternative would be to just knock out Indeedee turn 1. So lead Rayquaza... I think, I don't know, if I were to replay that third game, lead Rayquaza Bronzong was interesting because Dragapult can only apply pressure onto one of those two. I guess you could just follow me Phantasm. But let's say it's Rayquaza Bronzong. The reason I'm talking this out, by the way, is because no matter how bad your matchup is, you can always come up with some solution against it. You just have to map it out a little bit more. I definitely didn't see it in team preview in that game, and we didn't know our opponent's set either, but I'm just talking you all through how I would approach like a best of 3. So like, Rayquaza, Bronzong, Blastoise, Colossal I think might actually be our best bet, because I think my opponent's last one's Torkoal to cover for the Trick Room matchup. So with Rayquaza plus Bronzong, turn 1 I can Dragon Ascend and Trick Room with Bronzong. You can only knock out one of the two Pokemon there. If you knock out Bronzong, you give me a free switch into Cole. It's still tough though, because I don't get the Steam Engine policy boost off immediately. But it at least gives us a fighting chance, whereas that game basically fell over after turn 2 because my opponent made the right follow me play in back-to-back turns. So yeah. That's just how the cookie crumbles sometimes, right? In Pokemon, you are going to run into some tough matchups, and like I said, you can try to figure out game plans against it, but you do have to basically work a lot harder and play a lot smarter, and I just didn't see a great answer in front of me right away in front of that one. Plus, my opponent made the, perfect play in back-to-back turns. Like, the reason I went for that Self-Aqua Jet on turn 2 is because I was like, this is probably a lost cause anyway, so we have to hope for them to mess up rather than try to outplay them. And sometimes those are the opportunities you have to look for, because you do have to at least still make the right plays, like I mentioned, even if you have that positive matchup. So, yeah. That's going to be it for this one. Obstagoon, honestly, was very critical in the 2 wins that we had, so we'll take those. But thank you so much, as always, for watching. Hope you all enjoyed. If you did, please share support by leaving a like, and I'll catch you all next time. All right, peace.